back. Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. You guys, you know I had to come back on this one. I said I wouldn't be doing NBA videos or supporting the NBA or talking about the NBA until LeBron James is gone, right? And then I think the league will turn back into a real sports league because it hasn't been since 2010 when LeBron went to the Miami Heat. But I've been hearing people talk about, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, or LeBron. And most people know how I feel about this. First of all, never put LeBron James in the top 5 with these guys, right? Your Bill Russells, your Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, your Magic Johnsons, Wilt Chamberlains, and of course, Michael Jordan. Don't ever put this guy, not even in the same class, not even close when we talk about winning or careers. And when we combine those together, LeBron does not show up. Okay? Look, man. We're gonna justify what we're talking about because what the LeBron fans like to do a lot, they like to tell you, oh man, you can't use championships. But when you take away championships, what what does LeBron have left for his case? Yeah, he's got his finals MVPs and his MVPs, but where's his statistical titles? He doesn't have anything as far as yearly dominance as an on-court positional basketball player. Like a Michael Jordan with the scoring titles, the Wilt Chamberlain with the scoring titles, the rebound titles, even Michael Jordan with the steals titles, the Magic Johnsons with the assist titles and the steals titles. What about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the all-around player, the block titles, the scoring titles, the rebound titles? Where's it at for LeBron James? And, we can even throw in the block titles that Wilt Chamberlain never had or never got. And you can do the same thing with Bill Russell, the rebound titles, and basically the block titles. So to me, when we talk about, because I saw FYF Sports talk about this, I didn't click on the channel because all they do is tell lies. I'm like, how do these guys wake up and tell lies straight to people's faces? I mean, we really live in an evil world where you could just wake up and say about basketball and you straight lie to the people's face. Is it that you're telling lies, or you just telling lies based off of numbers so you can excuse yourself because, we can look at the numbers? But that doesn't tell basketball. And when we see this on your screen, it's going to pop up and you see Michael Jordan, you see Wilt Chamberlain, it just don't add up. We see, when we talk about career, we're looking at Wilt Chamberlain, 2 championships, 4 MVPs. The man got cheated out at least two MVPs. Okay, we won't even talk about that. 1 Finals MVP. They didn't have it back then. Or Russell would have had about at least 5 or 6. 7 scoring titles, 11 rebound titles, 1 assist titles. To LeBron's 4 championships, 4 Finals MVPs, 4 MVPs, 1 scoring title, 1 assist title. Michael Jordan, 6 championships, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles, 3 steals titles, and the Defensive Player of the Year. Not to mention the Wilt Chamberlains and the Bill Russells. You're probably talking about at least 5 Defensive Player of the Year each. Goodness gracious. I mean, what are we going to do with this guy, LeBron James, man? That's why I told you guys I will not make no more videos about this guy because his whole career is a production. It's a production. It's not a real career. And I told Do for Sports, I think yesterday I was watching one of his videos. I said, mark my words, Bronny will be the next American face of the NBA. We no longer play American basketball. We have decided to play international basketball so we can get these international players over here, so we can get international ratings, because the Americans refuse, people like LeBron James, starting in 2010, refused to compete like past players did and not build super teams. So the NBA basically died after that. You had no real NBA. So now And for a long time, they've been getting these international players over here so they can get international ratings. And now we're playing their game, right? The stand around the 3 point line and play keep away, right? With the ball. So when you say they caught up to us, it's because we're playing their game. We're not playing American basketball. Okay. When LeBron James got beat in 2004, 2006 FIBA, um, that's because we no longer want to play American basketball. If you look at 80s, 90s, 60s, even early 2000s, we were still playing somewhat American basketball, but we wanted to be all perimeter shooters. We didn't want to play fundamental basketball as far as in the paint, inside out. Everybody's got a job to do from the paint to the perimeter. By the time we got to the 2000s, everybody wants to be perimeter shooters. Um, so yeah, we're gonna get into some more of this stuff right here. But I had a chance, when I first started doing my GOAT rankings or whatever like that, and when I thought about the greatest of all time, I always thought about Michael Jordan because I'd never seen nobody basically move like that from 84 to about 90, I'll say about 93. Michael Jordan definitely didn't move like that in his second three-peat. He was great, but I've never seen a player just like move like that and can adjust in mid-air while shooting those mid-range or going to the cup. Just the way he did stuff is still unreal. And people really had to convince me of like Wilt Chamberlain for a long time, and I thought, because we always seen these numbers and stuff like that, but when I went back and looked at it, especially they have like a lot of games in color now. Look, man, Wilt Chamberlain might be the greatest player of all time. I just never seen nothing like that in my life, besides Michael Jordan. And when we look at this, they always talk about, we'll talk about that in a minute, but the LeBron fans, they always want to take away the championships when it comes to Michael Jordan, right? Oh, it's a team accomplishment. But when we take away the championships, do we have to take away the finals MVPs? Yeah, let's take away the finals. We're not in the championship game no more. So this is what you got as far as trophies. This is what LeBron versus Wilt Chamberlain, LeBron versus Michael Jordan. There's the trophies. I mean, it's just insane. This is a league that basically got weaker as LeBron went on playing. And he should have dominated this league in some statistical titles. I don't know what it'd be, but it should have been something. It should have been rebounds. It should have been points. It should have been assists. Anything. This guy had a chance to dominate like the all-time greats. Like the Russell. He like I told you, he would have had like 5 block titles. He got 4 rebound titles. The Magics, the Wilt Chamberlains, the Michael Jordans, the Kareems. He should have, as far as statistical titles, in those, he should be stacked with them. There's no doubt about it. If you're amongst the top 5 greatest of all time, to me, you should be stacked with those trophies. And look, Kobe played in the same era, so I'm not letting Kobe off. Kobe should have more trophies. He should have more scoring titles. If you're the scorer, which he is, you should not be letting Kevin Durant, James Harden, whoever was winning these. I think LeBron had one in 2008, the scoring titles. Kobe should have about 5, 6 scoring titles. There's no excuses. There's no excuses. Okay? At least 4. Yeah, so you just go back and look at these Wilt Chamberlain videos. I mean, these games, and it's it's crazy. It's nuts. How high this guy is jumping. This fadeaway shot. He wasn't just doing jump hooks and dunking. He was actually doing fadeaway shots and stuff like that a lot. He was a poor free throw shooter, but when we look at positional players, and those guys that I showed you earlier, your Michael Jordans, your Wilt Chamberlains, your Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, your Magic Johnsons, and Bill Russell, when we talk about positional players and what you did at your position and the positional skills you had, not only to win championships, but to score, the rebound, to assist the ball, to play defense and get steals and blocks. To me, those guys are on a higher level than LeBron James, and it's not even close. And I'm not trying to take nothing away from this guy, but He just never developed that all-time game. When we talk about 27, 7 to 7, this isn't all-time great. It's not. It's not all-time great score to me. Not. He's not a better scorer than Kevin Durant. He's not a better scorer than Curry. He's not a better scorer than Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A lot of these guys that actually sit out there and shot the ball. Now, I did a video on LeBron before he went to Cleveland, and I think that was what he only stayed there for, like, what, 7 years? It's crazy. He only stayed there for 7 years, and then he left. But yeah, this guy's numbers were phenomenal. His points, his rebounds, assists, steals, all this was phenomenal. And look, he was on pace to be a top 5 player of all time if he never went to Miami. But after that, it's not going to work. You can't go to and play with the best players in the league in their prime, and you're in your prime. For example, when you take players like, who was that? Charles Barkley, Pippen, Olajuwon. These guys were already old. They were out of their prime. That's why they didn't win no championships. Take the big 3 Celtics, right? And they basically were like 10 years or more into it. They were broke down. They couldn't even stay healthy the whole 6 years they were together. That's why it didn't work out. These guys basically were out their primes. Maybe one of them, I think Paul Pierce was still in his prime. Let me see. Who else you had? You had Miami, right? Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, and you had Dwayne Wade. So, I mean, look, they won 1 championship. I think they were together for 4 years. It didn't work out because Shaq, and Peyton, and who is this? Shaq, Peyton, and Alonzo Mourning, they was basically out of their primes. Didn't work out. Yeah, Wade was still in his prime, but he just came into the league, but it's still a team game. These guys are old and beat down. They're out of their primes. You think, oh man, Shaq ain't out of prime. That was 10 years. Look, most players' primes only went, what, about 9 seasons, something like that? 10? Remember, Wilt Chamberlain, I think he only played 13 seasons. He only played about 13 seasons. So about year 9, you're out of your prime. I'm not saying you can't play no more, but you're out of your prime. That's why what Michael Jordan did, came back. When he came back, he was out of his prime. Not only that, you taking 2 years off and you're coming back to play with the greatest athletes of all time as far as, basketball players, was insane. And they came back and won the most games of all time in NBA history. Now, Scottie Pippen, he was still in his prime. A lot of these guys were out of their prime. Dennis Rodman was out of his prime. Harper was out of his prime. But what Mike did was insane. And basically did it off of being a perimeter shooter, because that was no more Air Jordan. It wasn't even close. So let's look at this. When we take away championships, what do we got? MVPs. Wilt Chamberlain versus LeBron James. 4 MVPs apiece. Assist titles. 1 assist title apiece. Rebound titles. Wilt 11, LeBron 0. Scoring titles. LeBron 1, Wilt 7. 100-point games. Wilt 1, LeBron 0. 90-point games. I think Wilt had 1, LeBron 0. 80-point games. Wilt 1, LeBron 0. Let me see. 70-point games. Wilt 6 and LeBron 0. 60-point games. Wilt 32. LeBron 0. 50-point games. Wilt 118. LeBron 14. 40-point games. Wilt Chamberlain 271. LeBron 77. Goodness, guy's been playing forever. Only had 70. 30-point games. LeBron 553. I think this might be more. I don't know when I made this image, but LeBron might have more. And Wilt 516. 516. I mean, LeBron, he should be like in the 600s. He done played so many more seasons than Wilt Chamberlain. You don't have too much more, maybe 30 something more. So this is what I'm saying, man. You just can't. Are we talking about career when we talk about the GOAT, or are we talking about actual basketball player? What are we talking about? Actual basketball player? You got to remember, people think because you're 7 foot that you're supposed to be agile, you're supposed to be nimble, or something like that. It's not like that. It's not like that. When you see these freak athletes that are 7 foot, like, Wilt Chamberlain, your Shaqs, you know, David Robinsons, Hakeem's, uh, was Moses 7 foot? I don't think he was exactly 7 foot. Was he 7 foot? I forget. Um, he was still a freak athlete. I say Kareem. All the great centers, all the great centers that was real agile, mobile back in the day like that. That was just like, freak. I'm like Dikembe Mutombo. He's great, and he's a great 7 footer. But I won't consider him a great agile, mobile defender like that. Mutombo was more like, stand in the paint, get your rebounds, get you high blocks on a high level. I think Alonzo Mourning was like a step ahead of that. Um, Alonzo Mourning was right under Patrick Ewing. He wasn't as agile as Patrick Ewing or nimble as far as scoring, but he was a great defender. He could step out, hit the mid range. Um, he, he he was a great player. I think he might be top 75 player if he didn't have all those injuries. Um, of course, Patrick Ewing, one of the most agile, nimble players of all time. When we talk about a guy like Rudy Gobert, this guy walks like he's got 2 left feet. I mean, it's a joke. This is how far the defensive player of the year has like fallen. This guy has 4 of them and never averaged 3 blocks in a season for his career. I mean, that's insane. I mean, that's insane. That would just be unheard of. There's guys that was averaging 3 blocks in the season consistently and didn't win defensive player of the year in the 80s or the 90s. But you guys might want to go back and watch some of these games on Wilt Chamberlain. They got him in color now, and if you just see this, it just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real for a guy that's 7'1" or something, or might be 7'2". It doesn't seem real, because a lot of guys, they can do, maybe like 2 things at a high level: rebound and blocking, or scoring and rebounds or something. Man, this guy just it don't even seem possible in those type of shoes that they were wearing back in the day. Guy was doing everything on a high level, just all game. Like 40 points in the game, 10 blocks, 20 rebounds, 5 assists. It's just crazy. And this is like doing it like every single game. Like, where do you get that kind of energy? And a lot of people don't understand, like, Wilt Chamberlain, he was the most famous basketball player since until Michael Jordan came along, really. There's no guy that was more, as far as popularity and fame, more famous than Wilt Chamberlain. Not even LeBron James. Not even LeBron James. It's not even close. Not even LeBron James. Because when we talk about seeing stuff that we never seen before, it gets the fame and popularity just becomes insane. So they never seen nothing like that before Wilt Chamberlain. And that's where his fame and popularity came from. It just wasn't because he was tall or just because he blocked shots. It's because this guy did every single thing. And if you think it was that easy, why wasn't everybody else doing that? I don't understand. And if it was that easy, how come nobody else was doing it after him? You just gotta, see these things to believe it. Because at first, I wasn't like convinced. I was just like, okay, this and that. Okay, it was just an error. But no, these guys weren't doing anything that was, they were playing the game of basketball back then. It wasn't no different. The only thing different from then and now, you can travel and carry now, and you don't actually have to play basketball. Right now, they just sit around and bounce the ball a million times and don't really get into any sets, don't really move. I mean, go watch some of these 60s basketball games. These guys are really playing X's and O's and fundamental basketball, moving the ball around, getting into sets, and all this type of stuff. I mean, look, for some of these coaches that played in the some of the coaches today that played in the 80s, in the 90s, to actually be out there coaching today's game is weird. It's weird because it's not really actual basketball. It's just guys sitting at the 3-point line, swinging the ball open to the guy that's open at the 3-point line. It's it's not real. I don't even know what you call it. What do you call, like, how do you have to be a genius or even be a high level coach with X's and O's? And I don't know. Who you running it? You ain't running the Princeton. You ain't running the triangle. What kind of offense are you really running in today's game? Everybody's running the same play. 4 guys sit at the 3-point line. Everybody needs a screen or a pick just to shoot. It's crazy. Like, I'll be watching like old 90s games. Oh, I never seen Michael Jordan need a screen or a pick to damn get a point. I never seen this. I've never seen this. You see this so much into today's game, and that's why I just can't put Curry up in my. I just can't put Curry as the greatest shooter of all time. I just can't. This guy needs a screen or a pick all the time just to shoot, just to get open to shoot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he hits the shot once he's open, but or he has to fake his guy out or something like that. I just never. He's a spot up shooter. Yeah, he's a screen or a pick or whatever like that. It's just different for me, man, because I just didn't see this back in the day when I was watching basketball in the 80s or 90s. You know, you had to have the skill to take your man to the basket, whether it was drive past him, post him up, do something. Unless you was doing like a pick and roll, something like that, pick and roll to the basket. But you need a screen to shoot. I don't know, man. And these are these great shooters. I know Kevin Durant doesn't need that, but even LeBron James. Every time you look around, this guy is needing a pick and roll or some kind of screen. Well, it's usually not a pick and roll because this guy, you don't do too many pick and rolls. As much as they say, oh, those guys know about basketball, they don't. He needs this kind of screen, or he needs a smaller guy on him so he can back him down and still elbow him in the mouth and push off of him. That's how crazy it is because they know he don't have no real handles. So if he's not arm guarding and pushing you off, you can just steal the ball from him. I've seen so many guys do that. So let's look at this real quick. Give me a second. You know, I probably would like to do this with a lot of guys, but I just didn't do it. As far as looking at these numbers and stuff like this and putting them side by side. Of course, I did it with Michael Jordan. I should have did it with. I think I did it with LeBron and Kobe one time. And the longevity here is just, to me, it just exposes the error. You're not supposed to, be this good as you get older. Your skills are supposed to like diminish. And not that your skills ain't diminished. The part that gets me is when we talk about this guy being able to run the court at a high level like that for all these years, how's that possible? How's that possible? Nobody can tell me how that's possible. But it just ain't no way I can put this guy in the top 5. I can't put him in front of Wilt Chamberlain because he's just not a better player than Wilt Chamberlain. And he didn't have a better career than Wilt Chamberlain. To me, he didn't have a better career than Wilt Chamberlain. There's no way. It's not even close. What career did he have better than Wilt Chamberlain? LeBron James. Or those guys that I put up on the screen earlier, that top 5 right there. What career did he have better than Wilt Chamberlain or those guys? Some longevity stats? That's what you really count? You count longevity stats? No, bro, I ain't counting no longevity stats. Those don't mean nothing. Those aren't year by year stats of greatness. So you see what's on your screen right here. Jordan pretty much checks the box on everything except for 30-point games because this is an old graphic. LeBron has more 30-point games, but it took him, what was it, last year or the year before? Just to roll past Jordan in 30. But Jordan got him in 40, 50, 60. Um, what is this? 2,500 points in the season. Jordan got him. Jordan got 6. 3K in the season. Jordan got him. Scoring titles. Jordan got him. Steals title. Jordan got him. Defensive player of the year. Jordan got him. 200 steal seasons. Jordan destroys them. I mean, this guy can't even get 200 steals in a season one damn time. I mean, it's mind blowing. LeBron can't even get 100 blocks in a season. And Jordan had it in back-to-back seasons. And that's what I'm talking about when we talk about nobody seeing anything like Michael Jordan since Wilt Chamberlain. It's just because of stuff Michael Jordan was doing at a guard. Oh, let me say this. And I'm not trying to hate. I seen this the other day. They're going to retire Michael Cooper's number, and that's cool with me, the Lakers. But he might be the first player ever to make the Hall of Fame with 0 All-Star appearances. That's kind of weird for me, man. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but and I don't even think he made an All-NBA neither. It's just weird to me. I just don't. If you're doing it just off of the defensive teams, and he was a good defensive player, plus all the, what, you got 5 championships. Oh God, you wanted to put some people in there like Kevin Johnson, Sean Kemp. You know, he was like a on his team. He was like the 5th go-to guy on the team. I mean, I know, but good defensive player, but not even one All-Star game. I guess the '80s was stacked back then, man. It ain't the fact that he made the Hall of Fame. It's the fact that it's a lot of guys in the '90s that should be in the Hall of Fame. Um, yeah, and we talk about championships with less help as we go up there. You know, yeah, LeBron got that that he got what, 4 gold medals now. When we talk about internationally, okay, Michael Jordan has 4 international gold medals. When we talk about, his whole career, when we talk about college, and we talk about professionals, and Michael Jordan beating professionals means more than LeBron being a professional and losing to professionals and beating professionals. So, look, man, either way you want to swing it, you can put Wilt Chamberlain, the greatest of all time. Most people seen him as that before Michael Jordan came, because you got to make up your mind. You want to say had the greatest career. That's why when you seen that first image on there, those were like players who had the greatest career. Or are we talking about greatest basketball player? Which one you want to go with? Either way, LeBron James is not in that conversation. Career means when we talk about championships and we talk about, your statistical titles and your awards, something like that. We just talked about player. Now we're talking about dominance. Now we're talking about all your scoring titles, your assist titles, your rebound titles, your block titles, stuff like that. And LeBron James just is not in there. It don't matter how you cut it. The fact is that this guy had a chance to dominate one of the weakest eras of all time. One of the weakest eras of all time. Which was the 210s. Had a chance to dominate that. Whether he had the Miami Heat, whether he had the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that's what I was saying. Most of these guys that form these super teams later on in their careers, why it didn't work out? Because they were older. It didn't work out. They was already older. So it was no excuse for LeBron James. LeBron James was getting number 1 seed over the Boston Celtics 2 years in a row. And it wasn't even close. Celtics were like a 3 and 4 seed in 2009, 2010. And That's how good those Cavs teams were. And you couldn't really say nothing about it back then about him because they were good teams. They did what they were supposed to do. They had a standard. Once he went to Miami, they had no more standard. They were just playing based on athleticism because they had all these great players. So, it would be like Wilt Chamberlain going to play with, him giving up and him, we're no free agency back then. You had to ride out your contract until it was over. That's all you could do. There was no free agency like that back then. You couldn't collude and say, "Oh, I don't want to play with this team," or he would have just went and played with Bill Russell. He would have moved Bill Russell to the power forward position, and he would have played the center. Now, would you guys would have counted that against him? Well, you didn't count it against LeBron. You want to go count against LeBron. So, Wilt Chamberlain couldn't do that. And they played a different brand of basketball. They just played straight up basketball back then. They didn't get to take all these nights out. They didn't get to do all this crazy stuff. You just played basketball. Up and down the court. You ran sets. You played defense. You played offense. The style of basketball that basically existed all the way until about 2010. Now, did it change in the 2000s? Yeah, it changed to, but it wasn't nothing like the 210s or like right now. We're not even playing American basketball. I don't even know what it is. To me, it's just entertainment. It's not even real basketball. The fact that we're playing international basketball, I don't even consider this basketball no more. I consider that was a game that they couldn't come over here and be stars. They couldn't play our style of basketball. They couldn't run the league like that because it was too tough. It was hard-nosed defense first. We watching some of these old games, and the defense back then is just crazy. Every shot you get, and you like earning it. I don't give a damn who's covering you. He could be just like a damn Steve Kerr. You earning every damn shot back then. It's crazy that Michael Jordan was able to do what he was doing back in the 90s because the defense was so in the 80s. The defense was so crazy, even back 60s, 70s, whatever. Every shot you got, every bucket you made, you basically earned it. You had no free way to the basket. It wasn't like that. So, look, I'm always put Michael Jordan number one because of his career, and I got Wilt Chamberlain coming in second. And LeBron's got way more losses. 2 more losses than Wilt Chamberlain. So I don't know how you could use that against Wilt. Nobody was winning back then except for the Boston Celtics. And, they always use the Warriors. Oh, who's going to win? Who's going to beat the Warriors? Tell me what you think.